moving on. We are moving on. Our second movie review of the night is a Hulu exclusive, which is not one that we get a whole lot of. We don't get a lot of Hulu exclusive, really anything. Usually the things that are on Hulu come via like FX or what have you. But from 20th Century, what is it called now? 20th Century Pictures or something?
That sounds right.
I know it's 20th Century Studios, maybe. I think
20th Century.
It's not 20th Century Fox.
BXG Productions.
No,
LLC.
No. Yeah. It's 20th Century Studios, but anyway, is Prey, and this is a prequel to Predator, starring Amber Midthunder, Dakota Beavers, Dan DeLigro, who is apparently the Predator. He really killed those lines. Stormy Kipp, Michelle Thrush, Julian Black, Antelope, and some others. The origin story of the Predator in the world of the Comanche Nation 300 years ago. Naru, a skilled warrior, fights to protect her tribe against one of the first highly evolved predators to land on Earth. Prey. What were your thoughts on Prey?
We're having a good episode. 2 for 2 for me on this one. I love this movie. And it was a movie where, Janie had not seen Predator, but she still wanted to watch this. I think I think a lot of it had to do with like actually having the time period and actual native people playing the native people in the movie, all this working really well. The pacing of it, the plot of it was just super, super good. The look, I talked about this with Daisha, but the look of it was just very cool. And it had like a vibe of, I really enjoyed the first Predator. It's a different movie. I mean, it just is. It's, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And
Carl
so that's
Weathers.
just different, but it's still, it's still actually an enjoyable movie. It's just a different kind of movie. This was more of like, it wasn't necessarily an origin story because like this seemed like a character that has just been around. And like, if you kill it, other ones still exist. Like, not to throw spoilers or anything, but there is like that idea of like, there's others that exist out there. So it was not horror, and it was
not really.
It was definitely action, but it was also just like it was probably also just like an allegory about natives having their land taken, it was probably something like that too. I didn't want to get too far into it, Prey, but it definitely was something along those lines, and that's why they used Native Americans actually in this movie, is to kind of symbolize that and to get more into it. I don't try to go too deep with things a lot of times. That's for someone. I mean, I was an English literature minor, but and I have done that kind of thing. But in this particular thing, I don't normally do that. But I think there was part of that about like, hey, things are dangerous out there. We have to move on. And this was that kind of thing. But it still showed their resilience and her actual relentlessness to fight for her people and everything was so, I think, really well done. Didn't seem completely, off the board. And plus the dog was super cute and was a hero. The dog is a dog up for adoption named Coco, probably already adopted now after this movie, but that was cool. I mean, I just really liked that the dog was a key part in it, and then while it also made sense, and it also, the Predator is just a cool character. I just love that Predator has all these kind of weapons just at its disposal all the time, can just ultimately kick all the ass in the room. But she was just able to, ultimately outsmart this character in ways that made sense. It wasn't like she did anything that was, this doesn't make any sense at all. So I just thought beginning to end, really well done, captured me the entire time. Actually watched the ending twice just to kind of experience it again, because I thought it was just so well done. What did you think, Brendan?
Real quick, do you know, I can give you an example of a film who did not use Native American characters for Native American or Native American actors for Native American characters.
There's a few out there.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, the lone cannibal ranger.
There he is. Yep.
Ouch.
There's Johnny Depp as Tonto.
That's so bad.
So there's that.
That's so bad.
Yeah, I think that, so I've never seen a Predator movie, and I know based on reputation that most of them are bad.
The first one's okay. The rest are bad. The first
yeah. The first one with Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers is pretty well regarded as an 80s action movie. But the rest of them score very poorly.
They're not good
on RT. All of the like the Alien versus Predator stuff and some of the different things that they've tried with the Predator, but looking at it from that standpoint, and maybe a standpoint from historical perspective with this character, like you said, the Predator's really cool. And like, even though I've never watched a Predator movie prior to this, I know like what the Predator is and what it looks like and why it's rad, these different things. And it just shows you that with the right writers, directors, actors, whatever, anything can be good again. What was new and then became old is new again. And I felt like this makes me lament, number one, not having watched the original, but the fact that this is a really cool IP that's just kind of been wasted over the years. You know what I mean? The last almost 40 years, because I know the original one was an 80s movie. And it makes you wonder, in the right hands, what could have been done with this character or this, antagonist, whatever, the Predator you want, whatever you want to call it. But because it was an hour and a half long. Okay. It was very short. It was very short. and there's no waste, there's no fat, you know what I mean? There's no fat here, you can tell with like the CG, a little bit of the CG, it's definitely lower budget, and it's a Hulu movie. You know what I mean? Right. It's a Hulu movie. And I couldn't tell you another Hulu movie, honestly. I couldn't tell you one. I know that they've got some decent shows, Handmaid's Tale and what have you. But yeah, I mean, and this thing kind of came out of nowhere, a lot of people, it's one of those things that I think that this will be a very word of mouth.
Yeah, I think it's become that too.
It has.
It's gotten really good reviews. I think this was a movie where it's just, like I said, Janie wanted to watch it. Like before I even mentioned to her about us doing it for the pod, because of just it popping up on whether it's, a BuzzFeed article or, just seeing good reviews of it. And for it to kind of pop like that and have that kind of pop culture relevance says a lot about how good it actually is and, what it actually does. I mean, does this movie do well if it's released in theaters? Probably not. No, but not. That actually doesn't seem to be important anymore. Even we talked about like Day Shift was something I like had that dream of seeing in the theater, whatever you want to say. It's like, that doesn't necessarily matter. It's more important that things like this kind of happen for these movies and give Hulu, the production on movies like a little bit of credit and be like, hey, you can make a good movie. And yeah, like you said, there was some stuff there that were like a little under budgety looking. But I didn't worry about it. I was like, I don't really care about it because this movie is at least good enough to like make up for the fact that this is happening.
It can, I think that the protagonist in herself was her watching her struggle to be accepted was compelling enough that it overcame some of the shortcomings.
Yeah.
And to see her kind of go from the sort of like damsel in distress archetype who like a Mulan, who wants to be more powerful. And then eventually eventually rise to that because she really had no other choice than to do so.
Right.
It was a
Pressure
compelling
makes
story.
diamonds kind of thing. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it was a compelling story in the sense of those sort of facets within the tale being told, but there's grisly deaths, obviously.
Oh yeah.
That's very gory and everything, but the bear looked a little rough, and I
Bear
think
was
for
a little rough.
whatever
Yeah.
reason that is an animal that's just very difficult to pull off.
Yeah. For whatever reason.
Because like even Revenant, the bear looked just like it looked comically big.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing is I've never actually been face to face with a brown grizzly bear. You see black bears.
They're
all the
really
time.
big.
Right.
They're very big.
Yeah. So maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But the bear looked a little rough. And yeah, I mean, this made me want to go back and at least probably watch the Arnold movie.
Cool.
But he's such a bad actor.
It doesn't really matter in like those kind of movies, though.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's different when it's there. Also, like the movies where he's like acting, like it also doesn't matter either. That's kind of the funny thing.
Yeah.
And but definitely with
Well,
Predator
like
doesn't matter.
Terminator doesn't need him to be a master thespian to work.
Right, exactly. I was just saying like a movie like Twins, you know what I mean, which isn't action or anything, but he's supposed to be that, and that like just kind of works playing against that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's just this movie, the actual end story maximizes everything out of it and makes you care about it. It's like the sum of it, the parts are not as good as the sum. And that's what I think works for it in a lot of different ways. It doesn't, nail everything perfectly the way it looks in the sense of like CGI, but I mean, it still looks cool with like the darkness, but you can still see everything that like, it wasn't so dark you couldn't see anything. But then just impending doom until it wasn't impending doom, but there's still impending doom. Even in victory, there's still impending doom.
I thought that they also did a very good job of I'm a firm believer in scarcity builds suspense, and I think that was they did a good job of not showing too much before they needed to of the Predator. Just as an aside, the original Predator movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, and of course the incomparable Jesse the Body Ventura, 1987 is a critical 80 on Rotten Tomatoes. And Predator 2, 1990, starring Danny Glover, Gary Busey, and Ruben Blades, is a 32. So it's a pretty steep.
I don't even know if I've actually seen Predator 2, to be honest. If I did, I filtered it out of my memory.
I'm a big Gary Busey being crazy fan, but not like him actually like as an actor. Although didn't he win an Oscar? Like was nominated for an Oscar?
I think he's probably been nominated, but I don't know if he's won.
2018, The Predator, 33, Alien Predator, 2018. It's not even rated or not even scored. I feel like they should be. What's a franchises? Yeah, okay. Predator. Here we go. Here's all the RT scores. Prey 93, The Predator. This is in reverse chronological order. The Predator 33, Predators 65, Alien versus Predator Requiem 12. Alien versus Predator 22. Predator 2 32, Predator 80. Yeah. I saw a tweet that this should be the archetype for all horror movies now. Like all horror movies with like a fantastical element, not like a slasher movie. But like take the xenomorph from Aliens and drop it into feudal Japan. Just see what the fuck happens.
Boom.
Yeah. I don't think that works quite as well. Because I do
probably
think
not,
there was an underlying sort of tale to be
message.
told.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But you know, let the Greeks and Romans open the Pinhead, the Hellraiser, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
That box or whatever.
Hellraiser. Yeah.
Freddy Krueger is actually Jack the Ripper. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. So what would you give this?
I mean, scoring high today. I feel like I'm doing pizza reviews. 8. I give it another 8. I really just really, really enjoyed it. Like, yeah, I think like some of the flaws take it away from being, slightly better.
Mhm.
But I really, really, like I said, I watched the ending twice because I really, really enjoyed it. And I just thought this is something we don't see that often. A movie
Right.
like this works so well. And I think that really helped.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's 7.5 for me.
Okay.
And I think it was just maybe a little bit more storytelling
Sure. I can see
could have
that.
been
Yeah.
used. It was short and there wasn't any wasted time on screen, but this is the rare movie where like another scene to flesh things out a little
Yeah.
bit
Maybe like
more.
7 more minutes or something. Just,
I was even just gonna say like 5, like another 5-minute scene to maybe go into her backstory a little bit of being more of a, I don't know, tomboy, I guess, or wanting to be one of the hunter warriors type people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. Prey on Hulu
Pray.
from 20th Century Studio. So that's a Disney. This is a Disney thing now, I guess. Did Disney do this? I mean, Disney owns Hulu, I think.
I mean, what don't they own? I don't. It's always hard to know what everybody
Warner
owns.
Brothers. They don't own
Warner
Warner
Brothers.
Brothers
Do, 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 do.
yet.
Yeah.
All right.